Welcome to the Clean Slate Podcast, brought to you by CleaRank.com. We hope you make informed decisions about financial products and services. And today, we're going to be focusing on FxSway. It's an online Forex and CFD broker.
Okay.
Now, as always, we put FxSway through our Clear Score assessment. We looked at regulation, trade execution, withdrawal speed, customer support, and reputation. And the result, a failing Clear Score of 0.3 out of 5. To help us understand what this means for traders, I'm joined by our expert analyst.
Hello.
So a failing score, that's a big deal, right?
It is definitely cause for concern, yeah.
What exactly did your investigation uncover?
Well, we started by looking at their claim of being a true ECN on 100% A-book brokerage. In theory, that means they connect traders directly to the market, offering transparent pricing.
Seems appealing on the surface, but...
But the problem is there's zero evidence to support their claim. Legitimate ECN brokers openly list their liquidity providers. You know, the big banks and institutions they work with. FxSway, nothing.
So their claim of direct market access is likely bogus.
That's a very real possibility, yeah.
And it gets worse when you look at their trading conditions.
Yeah, for sure. They advertise raw spreads, which should be super tight. But we found spreads on AUD/USD as high as 9.2 pips.
Whoa. So even if they were connecting you directly to the market, they'd be taking a massive cut.
Exactly, yeah.
What about the actual trading experience? Did you run into any problems there?
We sure did. We saw frequent slippage and phantom requotes during our tests. Both signs of potential price manipulation.
Hold on, are you saying they might be intentionally messing with prices to benefit themselves?
It's a strong possibility. These tactics are often associated with what's called a B-book model.
What's that?
It basically means the broker is taking the other side of your trades. So instead of connecting you to the real market, they're essentially betting against you.
Yikes. So they make money when you lose.
Exactly. And that raises serious questions about their incentives. And then there's the issue of the trading platform they use, TradeLocker.
What's wrong with TradeLocker?
Well, it's known for its lack of transparency and features. For instance, there's no depth of market data, which means you can't see the actual liquidity available.
So you're basically trading blind.
Pretty much, yeah. This lack of transparency makes it easier for brokers to manipulate prices and create artificial liquidity.
So all of this combined, the dubious ECN claim, the wide spreads, the slippage, the shady platform, it's painting a pretty alarming picture, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It suggests that FxSway might not be operating in the best interests of its clients.
And that brings us to another major red flag, their regulatory status.
Or lack thereof.
Right, they claim registration in St. Lucia and Bulgaria, but...
Those jurisdictions don't provide much, if any, oversight for Forex brokers, especially St. Lucia, which is known as a bit of a haven for unregulated companies.
Exactly, and this lack of regulation means traders have very little protection if something goes wrong. So essentially, you're on your own if you decide to trade with FxSway.
Yeah, and that's a huge risk, especially given everything else we've uncovered.
Well, this has been eye-opening already. And we haven't even talked about their funding practices and that whole deceptive branding issue.
Right. FxSway only accepts deposits via cryptocurrency.
That's unusual, isn't it? Most brokers offer bank transfers, credit cards, things like that.
Right, and there's a reason reputable brokers offer those options, transparency and security.
So what's the problem with crypto funding?
Well, cryptocurrency transactions are notoriously difficult to trace. This lack of transparency makes it much harder for traders to recover their funds if something goes wrong, like if the broker disappears or refuses to process withdrawals.
That's concerning. So it seems like FxSway is deliberately choosing a funding method that makes it harder for them to be held accountable.
It certainly raises that possibility, yeah.
And then there's the whole deceptive branding thing. I know our team uncovered something pretty fishy there.
Yeah, their name and logo are strikingly similar to those of Sway Markets, a legitimate and well-respected Australian broker.
Almost like they're trying to ride on Sway Market's reputation.
That's the impression we got, yeah. Traders, especially those new to the market, could easily mistake FxSway for the reputable firm.
And get lured in under false pretenses.
Exactly.
It's pretty clear that FxSway is going to great lengths to appear legitimate, when the reality seems to be anything but.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So what can a trader do if they've already gotten involved with FxSway?
Well, the first step is to document everything. Save all your trading records, deposit confirmations, email correspondence, any evidence you can gather.
Why is it so important?
It'll be crucial if you need to file a complaint or pursue legal action.
Who would they report FxSway to?
It depends on your location. If you're in the U.S., you can file a complaint with the CFTC and the NFA.
Okay, and what about traders outside the U.S.?
They should research the financial regulator in their jurisdiction. and follow their procedures for reporting fraudulent activity.
What if someone funded their FxSway account with cryptocurrency and they're having trouble getting their money back? Is there anything they can do?
It's a tough situation, but they might consider consulting with a blockchain forensics firm.
What do those firms do?
They specialize in tracing cryptocurrency transactions and might be able to help track where your funds went.
So there might be a chance of recovering the money.
It's a long shot, but it's worth exploring.
What about legal action? Is that a possibility?
It could be. You could potentially subpoena TradeLocker to obtain FxSway's KYC records, which might help identify the people behind the operation.
That would be a big step towards holding them accountable.
It would, but it's also a complex and potentially costly route.
So not a decision to be taken lightly.
Definitely not.
What if a trader still has funds in their FxSway account? What should they do?
Try to withdraw them as soon as possible.
Any tips for getting that done?
Be assertive and persistent. If they're giving you the runaround, threaten to escalate the issue to the authorities.
Sometimes a little pressure can help.
It can, but be prepared for the possibility that they might make it difficult, or even refuse to process your withdrawal request.
So there's no guarantee of getting your money back.
Unfortunately not.
This is all pretty sobering stuff. But it's important information for traders to have.
Yeah, I agree.
It highlights the crucial importance of choosing your broker carefully. What are some red flags traders should be aware of when choosing a broker?
Well, for starters, check if the broker is regulated by a reputable financial authority.
Like the CFTC and NFA in the US.
Exactly, or the FCA or SISCC in Europe.
What about those offshore regulators we talked about earlier?
Be very wary of those. Jurisdictions like St. Lucia or the Marshall Islands often have weak regulatory frameworks that provide little protection for traders.
So regulation is key.
It is, and so is transparency.
What should traders look for in terms of transparency?
Well, a legitimate broker should be upfront about their fees, trading conditions,
Right.
and risk management policies. Their website should have detailed information about their services and trading platform.
And if that information is vague or hard to find,
That's a red flag.
what about the trading conditions themselves? Any red flags there?
Definitely. If the spreads are too good to be true, they probably are. Compare the broker's spreads and leverage offerings to those of reputable competitors.
What's the problem with high leverage?
It can magnify your losses.
Right.
Excessive leverage coupled with unrealistically tight spreads can be signs of a B-book operation where the broker's essentially betting against you.
And we've talked about the risks of crypto-only funding.
Right. It's a way for brokers to obscure the flow of funds and make it harder for traders to recover their money.
So look for brokers that offer a variety of secure and transparent funding methods.
Exactly.
Anything else traders should keep in mind?
Yeah, don't underestimate the importance of customer support.
How can you assess that before opening an account?
Try contacting their support team. See how responsive they are and how well they answer your questions.
If they're difficult to reach or seem evasive, that's not a good sign.
It's not.
Ultimately, it comes down to doing your research and trusting your gut.
I agree. If something feels off about a broker, it's probably best to walk away.
There are plenty of other options out there.
There are, and remember, your money is precious. Don't risk it with a broker that seems shady or untrustworthy.
Excellent advice. It's been a really informative discussion today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hopefully, it'll help traders avoid falling victim to scams like FxSway.
I hope so too.
And as always, you can visit CleaRank.com to research brokers, compare their offerings, and see how they score on our ClearScore system.
We're here to help you make informed decisions and trade safely.
That's all for this episode of the Clean Slate Podcast. Thanks for listening. And remember to do your research, choose your broker wisely, and trade safely.